This is Tallwave. Tallwave is the nation's first commercializer. First, you need to understand Tallwave's philosophy for building companies. We call it the Tallwave Way. First, every startup begins as an idea. Every idea must find validation in the market if it's going to become commercially viable. And it has to commercialize with some degree of success before it can scale. But it takes capital to move through these stages. How most startups launch is to come up with a really good idea and then spend time, equity or capital to build their product or software. A little more money on attorneys and marketing and they launch their first beta. This is where startups have a 5% chance of getting everything right. This is why the first launch is generally not very impactful. It's usually some combination of pointing at the wrong market, building the wrong product, or not having a viable business model. But this is why you launch, so you can test your hypothesis and learn. If the startup has the capital to survive that event, they start to experiment in the market, in this case, spending their way to the answer. The answer is product market fit. Product market fit is that time when the product is now doing what it's supposed to do for the intended user. You know how to find that user, can acquire that user, and at a cost that is less than the revenue you can make on that user. The company may still be tiny, but it's proven it is solving a problem and that the solution can pencil out to a profit. If you ask a typical angel group or VC about the 200 companies they saw last year, of the 4 or 5 they invested in, what did they have in common? They will usually say the company displayed attributes of being at product market fit. But the problem is, there is not enough capital to finance the thousands of companies who are spending their way to that answer. So Tallwave has built a commercialization engine, a collection of assets, people, methods and connectivity to help take startups down a different tack to market. First, we take everything we would have learned in market and bring it to the front of the process. We use real markets and real users to help us design our products, go-to-market strategies and business models until we create something that we know users will love. Then we build on business models that have unfair advantages, striking deals with channel partners, for example, to get us access to the market faster. Tallwave is built to get companies to product market fit faster and cheaper, and then scale them up from there. Our hallmarks? Lean business design and lean capital deployment, with the goal of accelerating market success and shareholder return while minimizing risk for both entrepreneurs and their investors. But getting through this curve requires real operators rolling up their sleeves to help small startup teams to execute. It requires parallel efforts across the business to move forward. Fortunately, Tallwave can parachute in the high-quality resources a startup needs during critical phases to get things like marketing and business development off the ground, without these startups having to hire full-time resources during this lean stretch. This is just one of the advantages startups get with Tallwave. Are you ready to plug into something bigger?